your power goes out, remember just how inconvenient your life can be. No lights, no refrigeration, no heating or cooling, no electronics. But with a Generac home standby generator, you'll have power when you need it. Our Generac generators automatically provide backup power after sensing a power outage, so your life goes on uninterrupted. Get a free 10-year warranty with the purchase of any air-cooled generator. Call Generac Generators today. Generac Generators. Life is primitive without power.
Streaming from the Tampa Bay 28 Weather Center in Studio A, this is Dennis Phillips Live. Brought to you by Generac Generators. Life is primitive without power.
Because I worked with her at 10, and then she was on my team. Then she left.
How you doing, everybody? Tampa Bay 28 Chief Meteorologist Dennis Phillips here. Welcome to Dennis Phillips Live. We are not on the spot tonight, but we are about to attempt another bit of high-tech stuff, gadgets, to take this show to the next level. Now, sometimes we do Zooms, and sometimes we go out and do live, and sometimes there's mics that aren't hot when we do that, but that's another story. Tonight, we are using this new bit of technology on my phone, and I'm hooked up with earbuds to my phone, and we are going to toss to our reporter, Chad Mills, who is live, who earlier on today was, I believe, over at Mosey as folks were watching the Artemis II launch. So let's give it a shot. Chad, are you here, and was it awesome?
Dennis, are you talking? If you're talking, I can't hear you. I'm messing with you. I do hear you. It's amazing. We're sending people to space, yet, you know, broadcast technology is still something we're trying to figure out, but we're mastering it tonight, huh?
All right, so tell us a little bit about what you were doing out there. I saw you at the live shots and lots of kids, and
yeah,
it was a spectacle, right?
It was. You know, I've been to launches at Kennedy Space Center. You know, you're at the press site and you're as almost as close as you can be within 3 miles of the launch pad. And you know, I hadn't experienced a launch like this, and it's awesome because you know you have the emotional element here. A crowd of 300 people, every little, you know, leading up to the launch, every little box that was checked. When we were go for launch, you know, people just roared with applause. And then when it launched, you know, you almost get teary-eyed because it is just so patriotic. It's just so awesome, you know, to see everyone come together, united as Americans, kind of cheering on this mission, Artemis II, looking forward to, you know, getting back to the moon, something, you know, the younger generation just doesn't know as well, and then eventually Mars. But it all starts with Artemis II. Yeah, we're not landing on the moon yet, but we're getting closer. It's just awesome.
You know, that's an interesting point. And by the way, you gave our director, Jonathan, a heart attack when you're like, Dennis, I can't hear you, because he was working last Friday. We're like 2 minutes of the show. I'm still just talking into a mic, and like, yeah, none of it was going on TV. It was a debacle. I digress. All right, so yeah. The one thing that I don't want to say struggled with, but I find it's fascinating because I'm old, and I do remember when we landed on the moon. I was a little kid, but I do remember. So, you know, I wonder, has there been any discussion, or has there been any talk about, well, you know, been there, done that? Or is it just such a new generation of space explorers that they're just all in?
Yeah, I think it's the second. I think that, you know, it has been so long. It's been more than 50 years. So there is this new generation now. You got to think all of the shuttle missions, as great as they were, we were just in low Earth orbit, meaning not too far from the Earth. We didn't make it as far as the moon. So when we're talking about deeper space exploration, visiting our moon, it's something that, you know, kids and adults alike can really glom onto. I know with my 3-year-old daughter, she and I were talking about it, and even with her, you know, still growing vocabulary, she was able to communicate just how cool it was. She was asking me what astronauts eat while they're up there on the rocket ship. And so, you know, I think you're going to see a lot of that. You know, one moment inside the planetarium that struck me today is when they had like one of the stage separations. I heard one kid, probably 8 years old, just say, "Wow." And that's really, you know, just how I would describe this experience here at Mosey, just the sheer amazement of everyone in the room, especially those young people. It really stood out, Dennis.
Well, and you ask a question of what do astronauts eat and drink. If you're from my generation, the answer is Tang, because that is what they drank. That was at least the advertisements back in the Apollo era. So you've had a chance to talk to the folks, and I'm guessing you did a load of research. I don't want to put you on the spot here, but what are we looking at next in terms of Artemis II and in terms of this trip and the timetable?
Yeah, so there was a little change in timeline. So we're at Artemis II, which means there already was an Artemis I. That was an unmanned test mission. This one is manned. There are 4 crew members on board. The next one will also be manned. It was originally supposed to be a lunar landing, but they delayed the timeline a little bit. So Artemis III, which should be sometime in 2027, that will again go into orbit. They're going to do some like docking maneuvers, things like that. Again, testing. But then Artemis IV in 2028, and yeah, these things can change, but if the date holds, that will be the big one. That will be the one where we have probably people from all over the country make the journey to Titusville, to Brevard County to see the launch. That will be the lunar landing if everything holds. And the NASA administrator, you know, he was interviewed today before the launch, and he was still very aggressive about that timeline, about the desire to, you know, inhabit the moon one day and make it to Mars, you know, something humanity has never done. So, you know, just so much to be excited about if you're into space exploration, and who isn't, you know?
Yeah, it's awesome. And I think you're right. I think Mars, that is the one that just seems like it's beyond our reach. And obviously it is part of this plan, right?
Right. That's what all of this leads up to. Obviously, there are no concrete plans yet of you know, that being done, or perhaps how that would be done. But, you know, we have to master the moon again before we do that. And you got to think like our previous vehicles, the space shuttle, as great as it was, wasn't capable of reaching the moon. So, you know, all of this started almost, you know, 2 decades ago at this point with Constellation program. It was canceled under a previous administration, but some of the components from that program were passed on to Artemis, the Orion capsule, which the astronauts travel in. So this has been a process years and years in the making of being able to have the equipment, the technology to get back to the moon, and then only then can we start talking about Mars. So, you know, all of this stuff just plays out over decades, but you know, and that's the challenge sometimes, because under one administration, the budget for NASA might be a little smaller than the next administration. So politics comes into play as well, Dennis.
Yeah. Well, Chad, thank you very much. I really enjoyed watching your coverage today. And funny story, so at 6:20, my weather hit ended, and we were over at Feeding Tampa Bay. And I'm like, all right, we can make it to the roof in 3.5 minutes. So the CEO of Feeding Tampa Bay and me were running through the building, and then we get to these like 25 or 30 rung fire ladder that we had to climb up to get up, and then push the hatch open to get to the roof. And we make it right at 23, and then we hear that it's delayed. What was that delay? We missed it. What was the reason of that delay?
Basically just certain tests they run. They called it, they had more work to do and just make sure everything was good. This was something they were obviously very careful with. They didn't want any mishaps or anything like that. So that's all there was to it. Nothing dramatic or anything like that. They just had to go through those final checks before they went into what's called that terminal count, those final 10 minutes when the clock ticks down from 10 minutes. So that took a little longer than expected, but still they were well within the launch window and able to launch tonight. It was awesome. Again, just a great thing to see. So many of our viewers I know probably went outside and saw it from their yards, which is just spectacular to think that we're able to see that all these miles away, but equally awesome for the people here at Mosey today. And Dennis, we talked about food. If you want, NASA shared a graphic yesterday on social media about what the astronauts will be eating. We can go through that now if you want.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it. Go ahead.
Okay, let's see. Any guesses as I pull it up? What do you think?
Tang is my first choice because I would think they'd have it just because it was big in the 60s. How about like a bagel?
Is Tang still around? I love Tang.
I think
it's probably not good for you. That's probably what.
It was good for the astronauts, and they made it to the moon.
That's
so,
right.
I would guess, if it were me, it would be a bagel.
Let's not slander Tang here.
Yeah, it would be a bagel. Well, I remember at Mosey, they used to, you would go into the gift shop and they would have those freeze-dried ice cream packs that you could eat. Do they have any of those?
They are still here. I thought about getting one for my daughter. She at Mission Space at Epcot, they sell them there as well, and she found one time, and I'm like, you're not gonna like that. It's hard. It'll break your teeth out. But I bought her one reluctantly, and she loved that thing. So I'm like, oh man, I should probably get her a freeze-dried ice cream sandwich here at Mosey. Okay. 189 unique menu items. That's more than I would have thought. 10 beverages, coffee, green tea, mango peach smoothie, chocolate breakfast drink. It's interesting. Vanilla breakfast
Dr.
drink.
Pepper?
Lemonade.
Any Dr. Pepper?
We're almost to the end of the list. No Dr. Pepper. Apple cider, pineapple drink, cocoa, strawberry breakfast drink. Food items, we got tortillas, wheat flatbread, vegetable quiche, breakfast sausage, couscous with nuts, mango salad, granola with blueberries, almonds, cashews, barbecued beef brisket, broccoli au gratin, spicy green beans, macaroni and cheese, tropical fruit salad, butternut squash, and cauliflower for your mains, your food items.
How do they keep that fresh? I mean, is it because
I don't know.
Again, it was always freeze dried, right? I mean, that was the thing. At least it was when you go to Mosey and you see the freeze dried stuff. So, if it's only 10 days, they've found a way to preserve it better than they used to.
I think so, and I'm not an expert here, but I've heard that they have like a little warmer, so you put the pouches in the warmer and it warms the food up, kind of probably rehydrates it. If I had to guess, maybe some of our more informed viewers can fill us in. And there are 5 different hot sauces flying in the Orion capsule with them. The astronauts will drink 43 cups of coffee over 10 days. That seems a little low if you ask me. Maple syrup will be on board. There is a Canadian astronaut, so that explains that. And then there's a pie chart here. It says what will satisfy the crew's sweet tooth. Number 1 is cookies. Chocolate is number 2. Looks like cake is number 3. Number 4 is candy-coated almonds. And then cobbler and pudding, rounding out the list. Sound pretty good eating.
That's solid stuff. Yeah, I mean, that's better than I eat. Yeah. And I would think that, again, so with hurricane prep kits, and you're talking about heating things up, they were called heater meals, I remember. That was actually the brand name. And
let's not talk about this.
They would sell, different, meals that were, all you had to do was pull something and it would heat it up automatically by itself. And I've eaten many of those after a hurricane, and when we were chasing storms when I was younger, we would have those with us. So they have the means of heating these things up independently without it requiring anything. So I'm guessing they probably got some pretty solid choices.
Yeah. It sounds like, your producer, Jocelyn, needs to give Kennedy Space Center a call. Maybe you can get an expert on, and maybe like a live demonstration. That'd be a great future DPL.
That's a good idea. You know, we try to get people on DPL, but their interviews are like 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. and like nobody wants to go live at 7:30. But you're right. Our producer / handler Jocelyn needs to work on that, and because that is interesting, and especially if you know we get to the point in a couple of years. Didn't you say that they were going to have a? Aren't they building like a place to hang out on the moon?
Yeah, that's what they're talking about. I don't think there are any like firm plans for that yet, but that's the ultimate goal, is to inhabit the moon, to kind of study how that would work and how to inhabit Mars if and when we get there. So, you know, just wild to think about. I don't know if we'll be alive for that, but who knows? Well,
I certainly won't, but you probably got a pretty good chance. So, Chad, thank you very much for taking the extra time. I know you were done 6:30, so thanks for hanging out with us. Everybody's very appreciative on social, saying thanks, great job. Really informative stuff today. Enjoyed it, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. See you back at the station.
All right, see you, Chad. All right, so that is Chad Mills, who is also a big baseball guy, big baseball fan, likes to talk Rays baseball, as well as space, obviously. So that was awesome. Thank you very much, Ed. I can now turn off. It worked. Actually, it worked. Here, so let's turn this off and turn this one off. And I think that's it. So there we go. Awesome. All right. So how you guys doing? You know, we wanted to jump in feet first, if you will, because Chad was there waiting, but we do have some weather to talk about. We are not on the spot. I'm watching Vancouver and Montreal, it looks like. Women's hockey is on, and there is no score, but it does look like there's a power play for Montreal right now, FYI. So there you go. All right, let's go ahead and talk about what's going on in the weather, because we have got, and by the way, you guys have probably noticed this as well. So on Facebook, the comments are still not scrolling. So it is, and I've tried both computers. Now on my phone, the comments do scroll, but on the computers, there is no scrolling. So there must be something going on with Facebook and their ability to give comments on their stream. That's what I'm seeing right now. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at some of the weather. We got some weather to talk about. We've got some rain in the forecast tomorrow for some of us. Shelly, how you doing? Good to see you. Crystal, frustrated that you missed the launch. Joyce, is it clear enough to see the pink moon tonight? It is, but it won't be pink. That's just a thing. I think it has more to do with the whole flowers kind of thing that happens in spring. But yeah, it is. The moon does not turn pink, even though some people think it might. Yeah, on the phone, Maria, it's fine. I'm looking at it too. Everything's scrolling just fine. But on the computer, it is not scrolling. I have to hit refresh. And once I hit refresh, all the other comments come down. So it is a bit peculiar. But yeah, scrolling good on the iPad too, Randy says, but not on the computer. All right, so there's a look at your forecast tonight. Skies will be clear. Temperatures come wake-up time in the middle 60s. And I do think through the day tomorrow, Greg, how you doing in Port Richey? Nice to see you. Hey, we got a little bit of rain going on. Look at that. Got some showers in my neck of the woods. Let me look. It looks like it might be just south of my house. Looks like around Dunedin. Let's go ahead and zoom in, see what lucky folks got a little bit of rain. And let me see if it's my house. Oh, wow, it might be raining in my house, which is bad because I did not cover my lawn furniture. It's a close call. But there's actually some pretty good rain right now right along the causeway. So right into Honeymoon Island. Honeymoon Island's getting some rain right now, pretty heavy rain, no lightning, just some rain. And that extends back over toward Alt 19, County Road 1. It's all moving from east to west. Here, let's look at the last 15 minutes. Kind of show you what we're looking at here. So there it is. I hope it didn't rain in my house. I did not cover my furniture. I should have, too. I thought about that. I don't think it did. I think it might be like 3 drops. But anyway, there's what's going on right now from just west of US 19, west of County Road 1, and right on up toward the causeway, south of Ozona. And then there's also a little bit of rain over in Clearwater as well, right along the beach. No lightning at all with any of this. And then elsewhere, you got bupkis. You got nothing. Same setup tomorrow, though, with a little more moisture. So I think tomorrow we're actually going to see a little bit better chance of some rain coming in. Thank you, Cindy. I had a tough time seeing it because the sun was making it kind of tough on with my camera. With my phone, which is our cameras these days, right? Temperatures right now upper 70s to lower 80s, but it was fun on the roof. So again, the CEO of Feeding Tampa Bay, Thomas Mance, was up there. Shannon Oliveira was there as well. She was up there, and we had another one of their good folks. They're just awesome. Just love the folks over there. And we climbed that ladder, and we watched it from up top. So it was pretty awesome. All right, so anyway, there's a look at temperatures right now. Let's go ahead and go right back to that map full so you can see it. Denise, how you doing? Good to see you as well. Dennis, David wants to know if we can do fishing forecasts on Friday only. That's an interesting one. It's very funny you say that, David, because pretty much everything has been tried at one point in time. It's kind of like, the people, the consultants, whoever will say, well, why don't we do this? Well, we did it 40 years ago, but we're not reinventing the wheel, but we're just kind of trying things that, remember back in the day, we used to have bands that would come in on Friday for Friday Night Football, for Friday Football Frenzy. Like high school bands would come in and play, and the cheerleaders would be going, because high school football is a huge thing. And then they stopped doing that because they stopped doing that. And then I would not be the least bit surprised if that stuff comes back, because again, I've said this for a billion years. The way that local news stays relevant is by being community driven, because local reporters and local anchors and other people, we're part of the community just like you are. It's our community together, all of us. So by having us out in the community and focusing on community events, in my opinion, I may be wrong, what do I know? In my opinion, I think that's what keeps local news relevant. I think if people want to know what's happening nationally, internationally, and whatnot, a lot of times they're going to get that right on their phone. It's going to be right here. And they're going to get it instantly as they want to, which means local news also has to be available on those platforms as well. But in my opinion, local news stays relevant when it gives you the things that you need to know about your community. It is all about community. I believe that. I have said that for decades. I think that's how, because people are always going to want to know what's happening in their neighborhood. They're always going to want to know what's happening with their schools. They're always going to want to know what's happening with their roads and safety issues with their community. Always. Always. So the only way that, in my opinion, local news stays relevant is by giving those things that people on a local level need and demand. And that's kind of what we've been doing in weather as well, focusing in on community development and community service, because that's, to me, what keeps folks relevant. All right, anyway, let's get back to it. I digress yet again, as I do. Okay. All right, so there's a look at temperatures. 81 right now. We did not break a record. You've got the east winds, a little gusty out there. As I was coming in from the parking lot, it was actually pretty gusty. Humidity 49%. So there it is. You've got that east to west flow, and that means you will see a few showers stack up along the coast. You will see it again tomorrow. Not in the morning. The morning will be sunny. Not in the afternoon. There's around 4 o'clock. You start to see things pop up. Matter of fact, let's go hour by hour here. There's 4 o'clock. There's 5 o'clock. This is tomorrow. There's 6 o'clock. There's some pretty solid moisture coming in. Got some decent coverage. That's 7 o'clock tomorrow night. That's 8 o'clock. That's 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and then it goes away. Now, then the moisture starts to retreat a bit, and I don't think we see the coverage on Good Friday that we are going to see tomorrow. And then I think that continues right into Saturday and on Easter Sunday. So, yeah, Mitchell, night launches are just awesome. I mean, that's a shame that they didn't have the window, or they didn't decide to go at night, because, I mean, as much interest as they had with a day launch, they would probably get way more with a night launch. And I know they're not doing it for the people to go, ooh, ah, but we like to go, ooh, ah, because it's awesome. And those night launches where you can see just that giant fireball, that's my favorite thing. I was fortunate enough back in the day when I lived in Gainesville and worked in Gainesville, I went to a night launch, a shuttle launch over at the Cape, and it was the most spectacular thing I'd ever seen. There was a cloud deck at about 5,000 feet, overcast cloud deck, right? So this thing, the shuttle goes up, right? And it's like daylight. We were at that, you know where they have the big clock right there and the lake? That's where we were. And back then, they let anybody go. You know, I was a weather guy in Gainesville. I just picked up the phone. Hey, can I come to watch the launch? Sure. That's what it used to be like back in the day. Not so much anymore, obviously. But I remember we got there, and when that went up, it was like daylight. And so it went up over into the clouds and into the cloud deck, and then it looked like someone had a flashlight that they turned it on from above the clouds, and the entire cloud deck lit up like it was daylight. The coolest, probably the coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. That's what night launches are like. They are spectacular. So, but today's was awesome, and they do what they do. That's not what they're interested in, obviously, but night launches are better than day launches. They just are. All right, anyway, there's a look. Good Friday. The weather looks nice. Tomorrow, some scattered showers. We still got that front coming in on Tuesday. So we're going to go from the upper 80s to around 90 degrees, so near record highs again on Easter weekend. And then on Tuesday, we see highs in the mid-70s. And then we stay in the upper 70s to low 80s. Rainfall. Tomorrow, pretty decent chance, especially south of I-4 and along the coast after 4 o'clock until about 10 o'clock. Friday, a lingering shower possible, but I don't think too many. Saturday looks good. Easter Sunday, I think, looks fine. Maybe an afternoon shower, late afternoon. The beach tomorrow, sunny early on, but I do think there will be a few showers and maybe even a rumble of thunder or two in the evening after 6 o'clock. There's the 7-day. Tomorrow, some evening showers, late afternoon inland, maybe a lingering shower in a few spots on Friday. Saturday, sunny up near 90. Easter Sunday, maybe a late day shower, 87. And then that front comes in on Tuesday. So let's talk a little bit more about that front. Here's a look at the euro. So this is tomorrow night here's tomorrow afternoon at 2, tomorrow evening at 8. Nice little slug of rain south of I-4, especially Sarasota, Manatee County. David, the drought totals, yeah, I mean, those will be updated again tomorrow. They're updated on Thursday, David. So we'll have that for you tomorrow. Friday evening, 2 o'clock. Friday afternoon, 2 o'clock rather. Friday evening, still some showers east to west, pinned up right along the coast in the early evening hours. Here's Saturday, not much at all. Easter Sunday, there's Easter morning. There's Easter morning. There's Easter afternoon, 2 o'clock. And then there's 8 o'clock. Then we get our cold front. This is Monday night. There's the front, Monday night. Tuesday morning, 8 a.m., front continues to work south and clears out. Now, the model's still showing any kind of development behind that front. Well, here's the euro. There's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Still trying to develop a little low. That's the GFS. GFS is developing a little low. Here's the euro. Looks like it's backed off on that low that it was trying to develop. You just get a big ridge of high pressure. Here's the GFS. Front comes down. Get a little something develop along that front and move northeast away from the area. And then another low develops across the deep south. So, streamers, that will be all for you. We will be back tomorrow night. I'm going to continue for a couple of minutes on Facebook. You guys have a great night, and we will see you on tomorrow night's edition of Dennis Phillips Live. Okay, streamers are gone. Suncoast Skywarn, how you doing? Alicia, thank you for the update. So let's go back real quick and look at some of these models, and then I'm going to go get some dinner. Climbing up that ladder was a... Did I show you that video? Here, if you didn't see that video, here, let me show you. All right, let's call it up here. So it's on. Wait a minute, see if I can find it. All right. So, all right, let's see if. Where is the video? That's the launch. Here's Thomas right here. Okay, wait a minute. Let's see.
Too cloudy. 32.
All right.
3 minutes. So here, let's show you live from in here in case you can't miss it.
Wait a minute.
Thomas. So.
Where's the ladder?
Feeding Tampa Bay cam is over here. We are live on stream. It's right over halted these.
Look.
We climbed up this ladder. We ran from up all here. What did we do? We ran from up there. All right.
Hear the echo?
We climbed up the ladder to try to make it, and we got here just in time. And then we heard that they halted
They halted
launch
it
for a while. But
Yeah.
it's supposed to go.
So that was the ladder that we climbed, and you know we're like, you know, like the 6 Minute On Man was back, and we made it. We weren't out of breath or anything, and then they delayed the launch, but we got to see it, which was the important thing. And then that gave Shannon the opportunity to come up, and she was not a fan at all of the. Not a fan at all of the climb on the ladder, but she made it through. So, all right, guys, that is it. I'm gonna go get some dinner. Tomorrow night, I think we have a guest, but I don't remember who it is. You know what? Let's call Jocelyn. Let's call Jocelyn. Oh, this will be good. She's not gonna be happy. All right, which is what makes it really fun. Hold on. Jocelyn is my handler / producer. Hey, Jocelyn, this is Chief Meteorologist, Tampa Bay 28 Chief Meteorologist Dennis Phillips. You are live on Dennis Phillips Live right now. And
I'm live on DPL right now?
You are live on DPL right now because I wanted to know if I have a guest tomorrow, and I couldn't remember.
You do have a guest tomorrow.
Who is my guest tomorrow?
It's the Polk County Blueberry Festival.
That's right, Polk County Blueberry. You know, while I have you here, just talk to the folks. You know, we've never really introduced you, so tell the folks how awesome it is to be my handler / producer.
You know, it's the honor of a lifetime, Dennis.
Okay.
It's an honor to be your handler and producer. It's really just.
But tell the people what you get to do next Tuesday because you are my handler / producer.
Oh, I get to go field produce.
Yes.
Which is just what I do all the time.
She is a Phillies fan. Let's not minimize this. She is a Philadelphia Phillies fan, and we are going to be live at the Threshers game. And I have joked about it from time to time, but she is a true Phillies fan. And matter of fact, when I called her yesterday, there was a game on, and she's like, I gotta go because the game's on. So was that yesterday or was that the day before yesterday? I can't remember. It's all a blur. Anyway, she keeps me in line somewhat. And tomorrow night we are going to, who is it again? The Polk County Blueberry Festival?
It's the Polk County Blueberry Festival. Man, you can't remember things sometimes.
It's just terrible. It's okay. All right, well, we'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
All right, everybody, that was Jocelyn. That was my producer / handler, Jocelyn. She's pretty awesome. So Anna Maria says you need combat pay. All right, that was pretty funny, Anna Maria. Should I ban Anna Maria for 15 minutes? That was so much fun. I'm not gonna lie, that was so much fun. But that was a funny comment, so I guess I won't. All right, anyway, you guys have a great night, and we will see you. We would like to thank Chad Mills. We would like to thank my producer / handler, Jocelyn. And I would like to thank you for coming by, for hanging out with us, and we'll be back tomorrow night on our next edition of Dennis Phillips Live. You guys have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.